When you're thinking about getting away for a bit and you start looking at hotels and stuff, it's like another hotel room. Come on, that's not very exciting.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Just kind of bland, right? The same old thing.
Exactly. But the West Virginia Media Lab blog, they just put out this new post, and it is all about 10 really unexpected places you can stay right here in West Virginia.
Cool.
I mean, it's perfect,
Yeah.
If you like finding those kinds of things that are a little bit off the beaten path, this is for you.
That's for sure. It's not even just finding a place to crash for the night. It's like the whole experience, you know? That can be a big part of the whole trip.
I totally agree.
This blog post, it's really showing off all the cool and different places you can stay here. And it's all about shaking things up. You don't have to settle for a boring, typical overnight stay.
Yeah, for real. Who needs those boring hallways and same old decorations? No thanks.
Yeah.
This blog post is like taking you on a wild ride. Seriously unique places to stay. And what we're going to do today, our mission is to dig into what makes these places so special and memorable.
Awesome.
Almost like an insider's guide
I like it.
to some pretty cool travel spots you might not have even thought about before.
And let me tell you, the variety is amazing. We're talking tree houses, but not just any tree houses. These are like something straight out of a fairy tale. A train caboose completely restored with a ton of history behind it. Yurts where you can really connect with nature. And get this, even a hobbit house. Plus a stable that they turned into a really nice inn. And a fire tower with crazy views. And then a schoolhouse turned hotel, super tiny cabins, and a whole bunch more.
Okay, let's jump right in. First up, the Holly Rock Treehouse in Hiko. So Hiko being right by New River Gorge National Park, that's already a huge plus. But imagine taking that experience, and kicking it up a notch by staying in a treehouse way up high. What makes this treehouse so different?
So what's really interesting about the Holly Rock Treehouse is that it's got this cool mix of escaping from the world but still being super comfy. The blog post talks about how it's up in the trees, which right away makes you think of that childhood dream of having your own secret hideaway, almost like out of a storybook or something. But then you add in stuff like a spiral staircase and even a swinging bridge to get to your room.
Wow.
And of course, no treehouse is complete without a hot tub. That really takes it to the next level. It's not just a fun gimmick, it's like a real retreat.
A hot tub up in the trees. That's the best of both worlds, for sure. The blog post said it's cozy and romantic. And it's so easy to picture. They even compared it to something Pixar would make, which makes sense. It has that charm and whimsy.
Yeah.
For someone like you, who loves finding those unique and kind of quirky experiences, and especially with the national park right there, with all its natural beauty and outdoor stuff to do, this seems pretty special. What do you think a stay like this offers that goes beyond just having a bed for the night?
I think it really speaks to that part of us that loves new things and wants to break away from the same old routine. It's a chance to be in a space that's totally different from our everyday lives, and it sparks this feeling of wonder and playfulness. And then you mix that with how comfortable and relaxing it is, like with the hot tub and all. It's not just a quirky place to stay, it's a whole experience, one that you'll probably be talking about long after you leave. It's about creating a story.
I love that. Creating a story. Okay, speaking of stories, next on the list is the Red Caboose in Shepherdstown, which sounds like another awesome mix of history and charm.
Absolutely.
I'm really digging this one.
Me too.
It's a restored train caboose from the 1920s. And the blog post talks about how they kept so much of the original stuff, all those little details, while also making sure it has everything you need. Modern amenities. That's such a cool way to experience the romance of train travel without actually going anywhere.
I know, right?
So clever.
What's really interesting is that it takes something familiar, we all know what a train caboose is, but it completely flips that and makes it into somewhere you can stay.
Right.
The blog post is spot on when it says it's a fun and way more memorable alternative to just another hotel. And that's a key thing here. It's about offering something that has its own character and a story to tell. Plus, being in Shepherdstown, which the blog post says is a really historic town, makes it even better. It's like a double dose of history. You can explore the town's past, then come back to your own little piece of railway history for the night.
It's like stepping back in time, but with all the comforts of today. Okay, now for something totally different. Let's talk about the yurt at Spruce Knob Mountain Center. So Spruce Knob is the highest point in West Virginia, so you already know the views are going to be amazing. What else is special about this place?
Well, it's not just about the view, although I'm sure it's spectacular. The blog post talks about how the yurt is off-grid, powered by solar and heated with a wood stove. So right away, you get the sense that this is a different kind of travel experience, one that's all about simplicity and connecting with nature. It makes you want to slow down and really appreciate the moment.
Yeah. The blog post mentions there's no cell service, which, like we talked about with the treehouse being remote, could be a good or a bad thing, depending on who you are. But here, it seems like they're saying it's a good thing. Like, it helps you find some inner clarity or something. And being up that high, away from all the city lights, the stars must be incredible. And waking up to a view of the Allegheny Mountains, I can't imagine anything more peaceful. This definitely feels like it would appeal to someone who's looking to get away from it all, like a real break from technology and everything. What kind of trend do you think this kind of lodging speaks to?
Well, I think with more and more people feeling burnt out by technology and wanting more authentic experiences in nature, a place like this makes perfect sense. It taps into that desire for something simpler and a chance to disconnect from all the craziness of modern life. It's not just about seeing beautiful scenery, it's about really being in it. Even the whole off-grid thing, it's like embracing a bit of self-sufficiency. It's a conscious decision to choose tranquility and the natural world. Now, from those wide open spaces to something that's a bit more, how should I put it, fantastical.
Okay.
The Hobbit House at the Barnwith Inn in Wellsburg.
Oh, so excited by this one when I saw it. An underground house with those round doors and the roof covered in moss. It sounds like something straight out of a fantasy book. The blog post talks about these cozy little nooks, and I can totally picture curling up in one of those. Yeah. What a cool space.
What's so cool about the Hobbit House is how it really plays on our love for fantasy and escaping reality. The blog post even says it's perfect for people who love fantasy and for introverts, which makes a lot of sense. It's a chance to actually live in a different world for a little while. They even say there's 0 dragons, just rolling hills and total quiet. It's such a great way to describe it.
Yeah.
It makes you want to find this peaceful retreat that also sparks your imagination. It's unique, but also super tranquil.
Right. It's like giving yourself permission to be a kid again and step into a different world. All right, next we have the Stable Inn in Lewisburg. Right. Lewisburg itself is a really nice town, but staying in an old horse stable that they turned into an inn, that's pretty unique. What's it like there?
The Stable Inn is a great example of how you can take something from the past and turn it into something luxurious and full of character. Don't worry, though. The blog post says that even though the rooms used to be horse stalls, there's no leftover hay smell or anything like that. They talk about exposed wooden beams, big windows looking out at the fields, and fire pits. It sounds so rustic and elegant at the same time, like a place where you can really relax and enjoy being surrounded by nature.
They even say something like, storytelling by the fire under the stars. So perfect. And it's just a short drive from downtown Lewisburg, so you get that peaceful country setting, but you can easily go into town if you need anything. Really the best of both worlds.
Okay, are you ready for an experience that's truly elevated? Because next up is the Fire Tower at Thorny Mountain in Seneca State Forest.
Oh yeah, this one's pretty wild. 65 feet up in the air. This has got to be one of the most unique stays on the whole list. It's a fire tower from the 1930s, all restored and everything. The blog post is pretty honest. It's definitely an adventure. They talk about climbing up ladders to get to your cabin in the clouds. But apparently the reward is worth it. Like crazy panoramic views of the mountains.
That's what it sounds like.
And the blog post makes a big deal out of being disconnected. No Wi-Fi, no TV. It's all about taking in those views and connecting with nature in a big way. They even say you might end up with this serious crush on the sunrise. I can only imagine. This sounds like the perfect place for someone who's really adventurous and loves those big sweeping views. What do you think an experience like this tells us about how we relate to nature and technology these days?
It shows that there's this kind of tension, or maybe it's a choice we make, between being constantly connected and wanting to fully immerse ourselves in the natural world. With the Fire Tower, they've taken away all those technology distractions, so you have to focus on what's right there in front of you, on how beautiful everything is. It suggests that there's value in solitude and in being willing to go without some comforts for the sake of those incredible views, and that feeling of being totally away from everyday life.
Okay, now let's come back down to earth, at least a little bit, for something that's still super unique. The Schoolhouse Hotel in White Silver Springs. I love this one right away. They took a whole schoolhouse and turned it into a boutique hotel. Such a cool idea. The blog post mentions themed rooms, like they decorate them with school-related stuff, like lockers and chalkboards. And there's a rooftop bar called the Principal's Office. That's brilliant. Why do you think people love these kinds of creative reuse projects so much?
I think it's because they combine nostalgia with something new and exciting. A lot of people have memories of going to school, and this hotel plays on those memories, but in a way that's totally different. It's not like being back in school at all. It's much more fun and luxurious. The blog post says it's accessible, which is important. And overall, it seems like a really comfortable and playful place. It's a really creative way to take an old building and give it a new life and make it into a hotel that's not like any other hotel you've ever seen.
I totally agree. They really took the building's history and made it into something special. Okay, let's go from a big school building to something way smaller. The Getaway House Cabins in Cabins, West Virginia. Even the name makes you think about getting away from it all. What's the idea behind these tiny cabins?
Well, the blog post makes it clear that Getaway House is all about encouraging a digital detox. So these are sleek and minimalist cabins surrounded by nature, and they're designed on purpose not to have TVs and to have very limited internet access. The whole point is to get people to put down their phones and computers and reconnect with themselves and the world around them. They even have big windows and give you a campfire kit, so you're more likely to spend time outside.
The blog post says something like, "S'mores that feel suspiciously like therapy." That is so good. It really captures what they're going for. It's all about simplifying things, relaxing, and getting back to basics. The North Mountain Outpost location sounds perfect for someone traveling alone who wants some quiet time, or for couples who want to get away without any distractions. What do you think about this trend of minimalist, nature-focused retreats? Where do you see it going?
It shows that people are starting to realize that being online all the time isn't always good for us and that spending time in nature is really important. These tiny cabins create an environment where it's easier to disconnect from technology and focus on resting and recharging. It's a way of pushing back against how busy and overwhelming life can be. All right, now let's go back up into the trees for the Owl Tree House at Four Phillies Lodge in Peterstown.
Another treehouse. But this one, the blog post describes it as rustic elegance with serious charm, built around an actual tree with a clawfoot tub, a reading loft, and even a swing under the treehouse. That sounds incredibly romantic and picturesque. How is this treehouse different from the first one we talked about?
Well, both of them are about staying in a treehouse, but the Owl Treehouse seems more luxurious. Like they really put a lot of thought into making it comfy and fancy. The claw foot tub especially makes it feel more indulgent. And then having a reading loft and a swing, that just adds to the whole charm of the place. It gives you spaces to relax, read a book, and enjoy the nature around you. It's a mix of being immersed in nature and having a touch of luxury.
The blog post even asks, swooning yet? It's hard not to be. It sounds so enchanting. All right, last but not least, we have Tiny Haven in Fayetteville, which, like Hiko, is near the New River Gorge. But these are called micro cabins, and they have a unique twist. What makes them so special, even though they're so small?
Even though they're tiny, the blog post says these micro cabins are loaded with big personality and even bigger views of the gorge. So even though they don't have a lot of space, they're well designed and have some really cool features. They have a designer couch, air conditioning so you can stay cool, and get this, a glass wall that faces the sunrise. They really thought about how to use the space to make it comfortable and give you the best possible views.
A glass wall facing the sunrise,
Yeah.
with views of the gorge. That sounds like an amazing way to start the day. It's like a modern and comfortable way to experience living in a tiny space. They're really emphasizing that connection with the incredible landscape. Thinking back on all these different places to stay, what's your overall impression of what West Virginia has to offer?
What really stands out to me is how West Virginia is using its natural beauty and unique history to create these really special places to stay. It's not just about giving people a bed to sleep in. It's about creating opportunities for people to have memorable experiences and connect with the land and the local culture.
Exactly. These aren't just places to sleep. They're like invitations to go on adventures, make memories, and experience something new. It really makes you think differently about what you're looking for when you travel.
Yeah, for sure. You know, going through this latest post from the West Virginia Media Lab blog, it really shows all the cool and different places our state has to offer. If you're looking for something different, something beyond the typical hotel stay, West Virginia has it.
For you listening, who we know loves learning new things and discovering hidden gems, we hope this is giving you some ideas for your next adventure. So, I have to ask, out of all these unexpected places, from the tree houses to the train caboose, the yurt to the Hobbit house, the stable inn to the fire tower, the schoolhouse hotel to the tiny cabins, which ones spark your interest the most? And what kind of story do you think you would create in a place like that?
That's a great question to think about. This has been a look at the latest post from the West Virginia Media Lab blog, showing just a little bit of what you can discover here in Almost Heaven. We encourage you to visit the West Virginia Media Lab online to explore even more insightful content.
I hope you do.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast. The West Virginia Media Lab is all about celebrating our state and its people, businesses, stories, news, and folklore. If you love West Virginia like we do, be sure to comment below, then subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell to stay connected. Until next time, stay wild, wonderful, West Virginia.